Hello and welcome to Ham Nation episode 492 for April 14th, 2021. Well, we've got a crazy packed show for you today on Ham Nation here. I am Josh, KI6NAZ, and this is the Ham Radio Crash Course on YouTube, where we are producing and running the show live for you all this week. I'm going to bring it right to the host because we seriously have a lot and we need to get started. So, without further ado, starting up on my upper left here, Gordo. How you doing, Gordo?
We are fine, Josh. And Josh, we so much appreciate you picking up Ham.
It's totally worth it. It's a blast. I thank you for being on and everybody else here. So we'll hop over to Randy. How you doing, Randy?
Well, to get myself unmuted here, I'm doing fine. And I haven't been on for a while, so I have a little video here. There's been a lot of changes in what's sitting on the table behind me here, so we'll catch up on that later.
Right on. And directly below Randy, how you doing, Amanda?
I'm doing fantastic. We got a great lineup for you guys tonight. Stay tuned for the whole show. I'm going to be interviewing about some extra features of software, and I'm going to be paying attention to the chat at the same time. So stay tuned. You got a lot of surprises ahead of you tonight, viewers.
Yeah. Make sure to drop your comments and questions because we are paying attention, and we'll intersplice questions as we go because we've got quite a lot of segments coming up. And Dawn, how are you doing?
I'm good. We're just trying to stay dry. It's been raining the last 2 days, and then last Friday night, over the course of from about midnight until 5, we had about 7 inches of rain. And I don't think, well, I can tell you for a fact, we've been full-time on this property since Hurricane Katrina, and I've never seen as much standing water on our property since then, nor around town. It's just been absolutely crazy, but we're trying to dry out, and things are looking good, I think, so we're going to have a good time. And we have got a full show tonight. We've got Dr. T, and we've got Ham Nation, of course. And why don't we just jump right into it, because I want to kind of hijack the show a little bit from you here, Josh, because not a week goes by, I'm sure that all of us don't have messages that say, when is Bob and when is George going to be back? We really hate the fact that they had to step away. We understand that life goes on and life gets complicated. We've got a really, really special treat for you tonight. We have got Ray Novak. That's not the special treat. The special treat is the person that he's with. That, of course, is George Thomas, our good buddy W5JDX. Hi, Georgie Porgy. Good to see you, buddy.
Hello, Don, Amanda, Josh, Randy, everyone.
How you doing?
Doing well.
And you're glad to see me too, right, Don?
I'll get back to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course I'm glad to see you. Can't wait to see you in Huntsville.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to that one. I mean, almost a year and a half without a ham fest. It's a little crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Well, what do you guys got on tap tonight? You probably got new toys from Brand I, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we've had a few little toys. Came down here to shoot video on the AH705. Of course, the 705. Been playing around with the prototype ID52. And George will be doing a video and releasing it on Amateur Logic of antenna kit that works perfectly with the AH705.
Yeah, it's a new kit from Radio Waves. It's really neat. But we had a fun time at the park yesterday. We initially went to one park here to set all this up and shoot a little video out there. And there was a sign that said park closed due to flooding, Don. You know anything about that?
That was not the system that went through us, I don't think. But we just had nutty weather. I mean, all around here lately. You can certainly tell it's springtime in the south.
But we had a good time putting up the antenna. We tried the AH705 does 2 different type of antenna systems. One is a long wire or a dipole type antenna system where it actually changes the resonance of the antenna itself. So you're very efficient. It also will do a coax fed antenna as well. So it'll make the transmitter happy to see a 50 ohm load. And it's just as easy as changing off the tap.
I like that adapter that it comes with to do the single wire, the long wire. That's a cool little add to the kit there.
And while Ray was not looking earlier, I took the screws out of the back and opened that tuner up and voided the warranty. But it's pretty impressive what's inside of it. So that'll be in the upcoming video as well.
Yeah, he definitely voided the warranty on this one. So luckily, I know a few people. But
Ray's got a guy.
Yeah. But we had a real good time. George actually busted through a pileup of a POTA activation. The guy was running 100 watts, and here George was with 10 watts and using, I guess the way we had it configured was a dipole configuration.
Yeah.
And we tried on 20 meters. It tuned up real quick, and then really didn't hear anything, or not that we didn't hear any activity, but 20 was dead by the time we got out there about 5 o'clock, and switched over to 40, hit the tune button, and it tuned it right up, and there was a POTA station. So that was a fun time.
Yeah, we were actually in a park ourselves, but we were not, we didn't have an assigned number. I'm not sure it was a state park.
No, it didn't look like a state park, but it was off the Ross Barnett reservoir. And yeah, that reservoir, they had the spillway opened up, and I haven't seen it that high in a very long time.
Yeah. But we had fun. You know, what you're seeing right here, there's a microphone that goes with it. That's all you really need to do to go QRP. It's not really anything else that you've got to have. You can try some other antennas if you want, but really been nice learning more about this 705. Of course, we saw it early on, well, really before it was released. Tommy has one of these now.
And I hear he doesn't share.
He does not. He has not offered once to let me use that radio since he got it. He's been having a blast with it.
But, George, I think what people really miss on Ham Nation is smoke and solder.
Well, you know, they might. As a matter of fact, I've got a little video that I brought along tonight. This is something I shot about a year ago on Amateur Logic that I wanted to share with the people here. You know, sometimes I pull the soldering iron out, and other times I do some splaining, right? Tonight I'm going to do some splaining. We're going to look at a single sideband signal, and we're going to kind of put in different tones and help determine what you're actually seeing on that display. And then we're going to look at a phenomenon of a shortwave station fading that you may not realize that it occurred like this. I didn't.
Oh, and you do a lot of broadcast stuff.
I do. Today, we're going to look at how to interpret what you might be seeing on an SDR waterfall display. There are parts of your signal that you should understand. These all make pretty good sense, but I don't know really that it's been demonstrated before. So first, I just want to take a look at that. To transmit, I'm using my Icom IC7700. To receive and display the spectrum, I'm using a SDR Play RSP Duo with the SDR Uno software. And I'm also going to be using a small audio oscillator to generate some signals. What we're looking at right now is an AM carrier that's being generated by my IC7700. You can see the big signal right there in the middle is the actual carrier frequency. You might notice off to either side here there's a couple of little peaks that looks to be roughly around 120 hertz. That is hum. That's a harmonic of 60 cycles, and I realize that I've got a little bit of hum in my signal. I didn't trace it down before we started here. I mostly wanted to get on into the demo that we're going to do, but just be aware those two little peaks there are caused by hum on my signal. So this is an AM carrier. You can see it clearly there. What would single sideband look like? If I keep my transmitter up, I really should see no signal here at all. I don't see a carrier, but I still see that little 120 hertz component that I mentioned earlier. That's probably a noisy power supply. Now, if we apply a tone here, let's put in, say, 1000 hertz. Well, exactly what you might expect. There is a little peak there right at 1000 hertz. Let's drop it on down to 100 hertz. There it is, and it's so close to 120 hertz that you can't really see that hum there anymore. This is covering it up. Let's go back up. This is 500 hertz. That's right where you would expect it to be. Let's increase. Let's go up to 2 kilohertz. And exactly what you would expect. We're seeing a 2 kilohertz peak right here on the left-hand side of where the carrier should be. You know, in single sideband, the carrier is suppressed, so we don't see a carrier. But we do see this sideband out here that has just a 2000 hertz component on it. There is no matching sideband up here on the upper sideband half because we're not transmitting upper sideband. Let's increase it to 2800. That's what you'd expect. 3200. And it's gone there. And that's because the transmit filter on this rig is set to be a little bit lower. I think it actually rolls off around 3000 hertz. So we're not passing any frequencies above that. Now let's take a look at an AM signal. There's the AM carrier. And we can see those little 120 hertz blips there. Unwanted, but okay for our test here. Let's put in 1 kilohertz. Oh, look at that. We have a 1 kilohertz spike here on the left and on the right. And that's because this is AM. AM produces 2 sidebands. So you can see we've got a peak there on either side. And you'll notice that they are both about the same level, minus 54.9 dB. Let's look over here on this side. Right at the same amount. So that's what you would expect to see on a good AM transmitter with a good antenna system. In this case, I'm running into a dummy load. If that antenna system is good and broadbanded, you're going to see the same exact thing in the upper and lower sideband. If we go on down to say, well, here's 420 hertz, you can see we've got essentially the same thing there. Might be slightly higher here on the lower sideband. That could be some asymmetry in my audio gear here that I have preceding the transmitter. And if we look as before at increasing frequency, 2000 hertz, yep, same deal, it's on both sidebands. There's 2800, 3200. We've got a little bit broader filter here on the transmitter for AM. If we go up to 4200 hertz, yeah, it's gone. There's no modulation there. So that's essentially what you're going to see. If we're modulating this with voice, we're going to see a lot of frequencies all at once right there in the display.
This is voice modulation of the AM transmitter. That's not exactly what you would see on an oscilloscope. This is more what a spectrum analyzer would display for you, except both sidebands there. We're seeing the signal on both sides. For real low frequencies, those will be right next to the carrier. For higher frequency signals like S's, you notice those go out further from the carrier. So this just verifies what we were displaying with the tone.
The reason I showed you how these tones look is because I wanted you to understand exactly what you are seeing on a spectrum display. This particular display is the auxiliary spectrum display of the SDR Uno software. There's another display that doesn't give you near this resolution where you can't really zoom in and see the individual audio frequencies there like we can on this one. The reason I showed you all this is I wanted to explain what it is you're seeing on a spectrum display in regard to audio frequencies being offset from the carrier frequency. And now I want to show you a phenomenon I noticed recently when listening to shortwave, or WTWW. You know, shortwave and AM signals do experience fading at night usually, and you can actually see that on the spectrum display. Notice that the waterfall display trickles down. The most current audio is at the top of the waveform, and history trickles on down.
Your favorite songs are a click away. WTWW.us. Click Requests. Here's another one of our listeners' favorites with an instant request.
In an attempt to avoid copyright issues and YouTube takedowns, we're going to do something a little different here. This will be a song that probably most of you have heard many times, but we're going to play it backwards. All I want to do is show where the fading occurs, so keep in mind as you watch this that the waterfall is going to be going upside down. The current information that's currently playing will be at the top of the waterfall, but since the audio is going backwards, so is the display. Notice that sort of diagonal area that I've highlighted there with an oval. You can see that the signal level in the sidebands has decreased significantly. Keep your eye on that as it scrolls on up to the very top of the waterfall and you hear the signal fade. Here comes another fade that's even a little deeper. If we notice what's going on in the waterfall, this area of faded signal right here is sort of diagonal. Now keep in mind that right here at the top of the waterfall is actual real-time playback. If the signal was coming down, it fades first above our carrier frequency. So this sideband here becomes affected. And we can see that fade spot just go on through and come out the other side here in the lower sideband. We only get a complete signal fade right here in the center between the two. Because while the upper sideband is faded out here, we've still got some signal in the lower sideband and we'll be hearing that. Also, when the lower sideband is faded here, there's still signal in the upper sideband. But where those two cross right there, you know, we've got a little area right in here where we really don't have much signal one way or the other. So we could listen to either sideband and we would only hear the fade when that particular sideband faded. That's what I wanted to show you. The fading is a phasing type of issue, and you can see it affects the higher frequencies first in this case, and then goes on down into the lower frequencies. And as it does, the higher frequencies start reappearing. See if you notice that this time. Since we're playing it backwards, it's going to appear right opposite on our screen here.
Wow, that was fascinating. Thanks so much, George, for putting that together, the Smoke and Solder. Appreciate that. And, of course, Ray coming along with you to show off some of the fun things from Icom. But let's check in with the chat. Amanda, do we have anybody, any questions?
I do. The first one is the most important, and I'm hearing an echo in the background.
Yeah, we got an echo somewhere.
Dawn, name that tune.
Amy, Pure Prairie League.
Okay.
Yeah, Will Banks has played way too many records backwards in his early days.
Well, that's one of my favorite songs of all time. So yeah, as soon as the fade in came up, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what that is.
That's very cool.
All right. A couple other questions. Ray, is Huntsville going to be the first Icom post-pandemic appearance, or are you guys going to show up somewhere else first?
For ham radio, yeah. It's been very interesting to see the different divisions and what they do. The Marine Division was doing the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show earlier this year, and the guys right now are down in Lakeland, Florida for the Sun and Fun Air Show. But for the ham radio side of it, yeah, Huntsville will be our first ham fest.
All right. George, are you also going to Huntsville?
I am planning on at this point. I do hope that it occurs, and all indications are good now. I think it probably will. So, I hadn't been to a ham fest in over a year.
Yep.
So really looking forward to getting out there and going through all the tables and looking up under them as well.
I just wonder if we're going to have an Icom water bottle. Okay, you're 6 feet. Squirt, squirt, squirt. Stay back.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ray
works
has
good
been
on the
waiting
cats,
for this
doesn't it, Gordo?
idea. Ray has been waiting for this idea for the last 12 years, I think.
So there was a comment too, Ray. What handy talk you showing off there?
That's the ID 52.
All right.
Nice. And you guys are definitely going to be checking into the D-Star net after the show with that, right?
No, because that one is receive only, no transmit on it.
Okay.
Ah.
All
It's
right.
It's one of the prototypes they sent me before FCC, and because of the AKM fire, there's not been any U.S. production. So
So it won't do me any good to lift this one off of you as you're leaving today.
nope.
Oh, just cut out D14 and it'll work fine.
Exactly.
Uh-oh.
So that leads me to another very important question. George, if you weren't going to lift something off of Ray while he's in the shack there, what would it be?
Oh, well, I think you could guess, but I'd have to, get a couple of things here. I think, that tuner, well, you're going to have to see the video of it. If you're not familiar with it, that's going to change a lot of stuff because your antenna requirements are going to not be quite as strict. I mean, yeah, if you've got a resonant antenna, you're always going to be better with resonance, but if you don't, that's going to make it work for you. So yeah, this is what I want, Amanda.
One of
All right.
the engineers that was part of the product concept said if you want to have the perfect antenna tuner, have it where you can tune 80 meters on 2 5-meter long wires. And before I left on Monday morning to drive over here, I got a phone call and he was very excited. He goes, it does it. There's not another QRP antenna tuner on the market that will tune 80 meters with 2 5-meter pieces of wire.
Wow.
So they did a real nice job with the antenna tuner.
That's amazing.
Cool.
One other thing, George, tell us where we're going to be able to see this other video that you have in the background. going on.
That's a good question. It's either going to be on amateurlogic.tv or the Amateur Logic YouTube channel, or the Icom America YouTube channel. We haven't even discussed that yet, so
No.
we're not sure where it's going to post, but it'll be coming up real quick. I've got a lot of editing to do because we had a lot of fun.
Hey, you know what? Maybe the blooper reel is going to be on Amateur Logic. I can hear
There you
you.
go.
I can hear you, Tommy, and Emil laughing about Tommy and I wrestling with that tree to get one of them up in the
Yes.
air, and some of the other things. Luckily, no one slipped and fell into the lake.
And you didn't throw the string with the pine cone on it into that hornet's nest up there either that we saw later.
I'm not going to confirm nor deny that.
We definitely need to see this video. I don't care how we do.
Yeah.
It's a must see. All right. Thanks you guys so much for being here. George, Ray, I can't say enough about you. Everyone on chat's like, George is back. It's so amazing. So
Good to see you, George.
It's good seeing you.
definitely.
Good to see y'all.
We do have links to
Yeah.
Amateur Logic TV in the chat here or in the description for this video, so make sure to check that out. Also, thanks to the wonderful support from Icom, we've got something here to show you as well. So thanks again, Icom.
All right, thank you.
The great outdoors is calling. Get outside and under the stars with one of Icom's ultimate SDR transceivers. Stay connected while off the grid. The IC705 is a perfect transceiver for hams who want to enjoy both the great indoors and outdoors. It's the perfect QRP companion. This transceiver has features and functions at the tips of your fingers in a portable package covering HF, 6 meters, 2 meters, 70 centimeters, and the weight is just under 2 pounds. 4.3-inch color touchscreen with live band scope and waterfall. 5 watts with BP272 battery, or 10 watts with 13.8 volts DC input. Create your own band opening with the IC9700. This transceiver brings direct sampling to the VHF-UHF weak signal world. This all-mode transceiver is loaded with innovative features that are sure to keep you busy. 4.3-inch color touchscreen with real-time high-speed spectrum scope and waterfall display. Smooth satellite operation with 99 satellite channels. And it supports dual watch operation and full duplex operation in satellite mode. Visually sees the VHF-UHF world with Icom's IC9700. Heard it, worked it, logged it. Icom's IC7300 is a high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design that will far exceed your expectations. This innovative HF transceiver digitizes RF before various receiver stages to reduce the generated inherent noise in different IF stages. Icom's IC7300 is a radio that changed the way entry-level HF is designed. Visit icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on all the great Icom radios.
And again, we do appreciate Icom for supporting Ham Nation here. And another thing that you guys can get involved with, there is a link for this in the description as well. Icom does a giveaway. They give away a radio away every month, and they also do swag giveaways. And the grand prize for this month was an Icom 5100. And I can announce the winner for that right now. It is Charles Hagan, N9NI. And the swag giveaway is Andy Frakes, KB5MIT, John Stitt, N2LEG, N2Leg, I like that. Into Leg, that's good. Randall Williams, KE4VYQ, is also a winner for the swag giveaway prizes. So you get a couple of chances to win some swag items and also once a month, again, a radio giveaway. So thanks again for Icom for doing that. All right. So now we're going to talk to Gordo. Gordo's got a special guest for us, and I think they're going to have a lot of fun with this too. So off to you, Gordo.
Oh, well, thanks.
That's the wrong one. There we go.
Yes, you have one more guest before me.
That's right.
Yeah, we were going to...
Oh, that's right. I jumped the gun. Sorry, I apologize.
It's cool.
It's John Dean and Amanda. Sorry about that.
That's all right. We switched it up at the last minute there. So first, I'd like to introduce K0JDD, John Dean. Thanks for joining us this evening. First, he's going to be talking about, and everyone's going to want to watch this and find out how you can help your local clubs or your HF nets and you didn't know about this software. We're going to be talking about NetLogger. And John, we're going to bring up the screen. We have an actual live net running on NetLogger right now. But first, I'd like you to explain to our viewers, what is NetLogger?
Well, good evening, Amanda, and everybody else on the show and out there watching. It's nice to be here, and we appreciate the invite. What is NetLogger? Well, it's a tool, and I like to caution people that, it's a tool. Don't let it become a crutch, Don't let it become the only thing between you and having a successful net. But what it is really is a tool that can be used if you're running a directed net, if you're running a net that requires you to keep a list, if you're participating in a net that would normally require you to keep a list, NetLogger might be something you'd want to do. What you can, do is one person can be in charge of the list, and via the magic of the internet, everyone else can see that list change in almost real time as the person who's in charge of the net, who we refer to as the logger, updates it and adds entries to it and so forth. And the other thing you can do is if it's a net that might involve working for awards, so you're making contacts and you need to keep a record of those, it allows you to simply create a log of your contacts during that net, and they can be exported to your favorite logging program, or you can just leave them in NetLogger if you'd like.
Absolutely. And Josh is going to bring that up live. I think he's ready to do that. And we are going to go to select nets. And this is a little hard to see, but look at all of these nets that are running live time right now. Some are just your local UHF or VHF nets, and some are HF nets. So Josh is going to click on the Ham Nation demo, and it's going to bring, yes, absolutely. And then it shows I'm in the net. Look at that. And K0JDD is there. And John, while we're talking here, is just going to add a few more. I'm going to say AE5DW.
We're going to add Josh for sure.
Yes, KI6NAZ.
Well, you'll get people joining just that are watching the live stream right now if you're not careful.
Right. They are going to join as a monitor, so they'll be monitoring this. But wait, there's more, you guys. So not only can you do this portion, but you can click on the AIM window. That's almost instant messaging. And we can talk to the other people that are monitoring this net right now.
Show me where that's at.
AIM window.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right, here we go.
So we actually have there's a lot of people joining us right now, and this is pretty cool. So I'm just going to type hello real quick, like. Hello. This is really the coolest aspect of it, is just the interaction. So I want John again to talk about who is this available to. Anyone can use this. Is that correct? Anyone for their local nets, their Aries nets, whatever you got going on, you're encouraged to download this and use it. Go ahead.
Absolutely. It's free to the amateur community. We're totally crowdfunded. Volunteer donations only. No one's obligated to provide any support whatsoever. And we encourage people to look at it, play around with it. If you just want to use it for your weekly 2-meter net so you can keep a record of who logged in, that's just fine. If you've got a long net with a long list and you just want to keep a record of who came and went during the net, that's fine too. We have a lot of organizations like the 3905 Century Club, like the YL system, like OMIS, who you featured a couple of weeks ago, that have very long nets where there might be 60, 70, 80 people on the list. And this is an easy way to see who's on, see who you might need to work if you're working on some kind of an award. The AIM window, which we call almost instant messaging because it's not very snappy, but it does come around, is where a lot of people hang out while they're waiting for their turn. You know, when you're number 103 on a list of 108, it's going to be a while before it's your turn to make a call. But
so you can go take a nap.
Well, you have to pay attention in case someone calls you, because that could happen at any time.
Absolutely. There's another really neat feature in this, Josh, if you don't mind bringing up the NetLogger window again, is that it's really easy to keep logs from this. So if you just worked so Josh, let's say you worked me on HF right now, you could right click me and log me just like that. Boom. So then it adds me to his logs, and he can export this into an ADIF or maybe even upload to LOTW. Is that correct, John?
Yeah, that's correct. Logbook of the World EQSL.
There you go. It's really, really handy. So we're just encouraging people to take advantage of this, and I'd like to thank John. He didn't want to boast about himself, so I'm going to give him a minute here to talk about. You're a developer of this, and you took it over, and you and another ham helped write and upgrade this. So tell me about that a little bit.
Well, there's a little more history here, and it goes back to about 1999-2000. A very talented ham by the name of Chris Gearhart, N1HWQ, got the idea that, instead of just using an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of who was on the net and whose turn it was, he wanted to come up with a way to share that with everybody else. And he wrote the original software, both for the Windows computer and for the server side. It's a client and server operation, or cloud as we call it these days. There's a portion in the cloud and there's a portion on your local computer. Chris continued on with that, but in about 2007, he needed to exit the support of that. He's a young fella starting a family, and other things got in the way, and that's kind of how life goes. In 2011, I kind of became the trustee of the money that had been donated up to that point to keep the server operation going. And I rewrote the server code because the original was written in a language called Perl, which is a great language, but I didn't understand it very well. And so I wrote it in something that I could understand and fixed a few bugs and some other things. About 2013, another ham, John Marvin, Alpha Charlie 0 Zulu Golf, took it out upon himself to rewrite the client code. And not only did he rewrite it for Windows, but he also has a port for Mac OS and for Linux. And we retired the last of Chris's old code to support Windows XP in July of 2019.
Well, it's excellent software, and I encourage everyone, if you're interested in seeing what's going on in the HF world, if you're trying to get your worked all states, things like that, or earn some extra awards, download this, have some fun with it. You really can't screw it up that bad. Trust me, you'll enjoy it. And as you can see, it's very informative. So, John, thanks for joining us this evening.
You're welcome.
And I can't say thank you enough. So I'm gonna break with you, and we're gonna go out to Randy. Randy, what do you got going on?
There we go. Got myself unmuted. So I've done a lot of upgrades here in the shack, and I have a little video, so let's run that, and that'll explain what's going on. Let's roll the videotape. Hi, Randy, K7AGE, with an April 2021 Ham Shack update. There's been a lot of major changes here in the Ham Shack. So before we start talking about the new stuff here, let's go back about 20 years. So back in 2000, late 2000, Yaesu introduced the FT817. This was probably the hottest thing on the market at that time, and for quite a few years. I received my FT817 in December of 2000. I read that as of, say, about 2014, 7 years ago, there was over 250,000 of these guys sold. So it became one of the most popular radios. Was it a perfect radio? No. Had a lot of areas that could have been improved, but this is 2000s technology. But one of the main things was the battery life. You basically got a few hours if you were lucky. The other thing that was kind of a complaint was the small display. Lots of menus in here, a lot of flexibility, but a lot of menus to paw through. The other thing that happened on a lot of these, including mine, is that the finals blew out. A couple years ago, it was a major kind of sneak announcement, teaser announcement from Yaesu about the FT18 coming out, and everybody had ideas of what that was going to be, and moving ahead, 18, 20 years of technology, expected a lot of improvements. What they got was, 1 watt more and a TXO and a couple other little warmed up things. So a lot of people really panned Yaesu on that. They were expecting a whole lot more, but in its time, it was a breakthrough design. So over the past 20 years since that was introduced, technology has really marched along. Microprocessors have become so much more powerful. DSP back in those days was an audio DSP. Now DSP technology, along with an FPGA, a field programmable logic device, can basically direct sample the RF, just basically right at the antenna input, and do all the modulation and demodulation in digital. So another thing that's changed over the years is the display technology. So we've gone from little tiny LCD screens to now much larger, high resolution, full color, bright touchscreen displays. And so this whole talk about the 817 and its history and Yaesu floundering with the 818 in the QRP market means I've joined the Icom IC705 customers and users. This thing excites me. This is kind of the neatest thing out on the market, I think, right now. 160 meters through 70 centimeters, all modes. AM, FM, sideband, digital modes, D-Star is all built in here. Direct sampling, the large screen, the same size, same screen as on the 7300 and the 9700 is in here. It has wireless connectivity to it, so it has Bluetooth built in, so you can use a Bluetooth headset and or a microphone to work with the radio and not have to have the coiled microphone plugged in the side. And it has Wi-Fi. So with the new software that Icom has just released, it now provides what they call access point mode. So what this means is that with your laptop, with a Wi-Fi connection using the RS-BA1 software, you can control and do all your digital modes with this radio, with your laptop, with no cables between them. So your FT8, your FL Digi, your WinLink software, all that stuff can run on your laptop wirelessly. And I'll be experimenting with that a lot in the future. Looking forward to that. Okay, let's pull this open. There we go. Here's a slip from Icom saying register your radio for your warranty. A Spanish manual, won't need that. Looks like a French manual. English manual, I'll keep. A bag with a couple fuses. Intricate cardboard, keep it all steady in there. Little instruction says lift the main dial side and remove transceiver. So I guess I want you to grab it on this side and pull it out. More cardboard, the standard battery, power cord with a fuse, and we have a microphone. Got the back here, just goes in, snaps in, little latches engage. There's the power button. And I saw that it came up and said 1.12 software, so one of the first things I'll be doing is updating it with the newer software. Whoever thought of this is a genius. They put a quarter 20 camera socket on the bottom of the radio. That means a standard camera tripod, a clamp, all sorts of things will be available to screw into the bottom of the radio. But that's not all. I've gone Icom crazy. I got myself a new IC7610 HF transceiver and an IC9700 2 meter, 70 centimeter, 23 centimeter transceiver. So, and I've also moved some things around. So next to the radio here, I have my watt meter and my antenna switch. Next to that is the antenna rotator, and on the very end is the audio mixer board. And I didn't stop just buying radios. You got to have some of the other accessories to go with it. So I did buy the backpack for the 705 after watching Josh's video about this, where he had everything in here, and I think including a sandwich. I did get the RS-BA1 software because I want to do all these wireless connectivity things. Also got the VS-3 Bluetooth microphone, and you can plug in your earphone. So a real useful resource is the user groups for all these radios. These radios and any radio that's out there usually has a user group that goes with it. You can find these on Facebook and also on Google I.O. They used to be on Yahoo groups, but those have mainly moved over to Google I.O. For these Icom radios, Andrew Barron's ZL3DW has a whole series of books. And these are great supplements to the Icom manuals. You get the basic manual of the radio. The advanced manual you download, so you can have that in your tablet, have it on your phone. If you got access to a fast printer, you may want to just print those out, because you'll end up going through the basic, the advanced, and these other books really help explain and step you through various setups and different procedures in the radios. A lot of fun over the past week using the 7610, working the last man standing special event stations. I want to thank you to everybody all the operators on that. I saw on the web that had over 60,000 QSOs. I have my log sheet here. I worked them all except one. I did not get the station that was on the studio set. I think that wraps it up for now. I think I'm really going to enjoy my new 705. I know I'm enjoying the 7610 and the IC 9700. And I just noticed the clock in here is matching my GPS clock up here on my operating desk. So apparently the GPS must have locked up and set that. I don't know. Haven't touched the menus on here yet. So I got some ideas for this. I got some more accessories on order. We'll see those in the future and see how they work out. So again, this is Randy, K7AGE, and 73.
I like the light.
That was.
You like the light?
So I've got that same comment. Like, where do we get one of those?
Oh, my wife got that years ago. I found it on eBay or something. So it's from probably an outfit that supplies them the radio stations. And it had a little like 7-watt Christmas tree size lamp in there. Well, I ripped that out, and I have about 15 red LEDs mounted inside that light.
Wow. It's pretty nifty, I gotta say. And my personal question is, did you seriously just rip that box open, plug it into an antenna, and you were making contacts on the 705?
I've ripped it open. I've received. I haven't hooked it up to an outside antenna yet. Okay. So, the other two radios, yes, and I used the 7610 a lot. I talked to you twice when you were doing the special event stations. You were doing a great job.
Good. You sounded good. And were you using the standard mic, or was it an external microphone? I wasn't paying attention.
The standard supplied mic.
Okay.
So that's what I have for now, anyway.
And of course, some people are like, "So, Randy, what are you going to do with all that Yaesu equipment you got to the side there?"
Well, the Yaesu off to the side here is an FT990. My wife bought that for me for my 40th birthday a long time ago. And it's basically the only analog transceiver I have left. So I'm keeping it. I sold my Yellowcraft, my K3 and P3, and I know the fellow's received it. I don't know if he's fired it up yet, so I hope it all works for him.
Absolutely. That's just way too much equipment to keep that KX3 in the shack.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, yeah. I really like the P3 display, but I really like the display that's built into the 7610. I don't have separate boxes anymore, and so it's nice having it all integrated together. And they all kind of operate the same way, which is nice.
Well, anyhow, there was a lot of comments about how real nice it looked in there, and
thank you.
That they're very thrilled with your shack. I am too. A little jealous. I don't know about anybody else, but.
And I just want to say one more thing. I'll release this on my YouTube channel here in a couple minutes, and the version that's on there is quite a bit longer, so I go into some more detail on some of the other things. So
we're getting more
Amanda,
questions.
I know where you can get some more radios.
Yeah, we know a guy.
Where's that coming from?
My biggest problem, you guys, in all honesty, is I talk too much on the radio, and I keep blowing freaking tubes in my 811.
Are those hard to get now? I haven't decided to buy a spare set yet. I should probably do that just in case.
I smoked them during the LMS special events.
Wow.
Straight up smoked them.
We got a question, Randy. It always comes up when you're on. Tell everybody again about that LED clock real quick, because everybody loves that.
LED clock. A couple videos ago on my channel, I have a time and clock video. So this is a GPS clock that gives me year, month, day, hours, minutes, seconds, and hundreds of seconds. It's a kit out of the UK, and I forget the name of it just offhand. If anybody wants a link to it, just send me an email at k7age@k7age.com, and I'll send you the link. It's about $130.
Wow.
All right.
And yes, the chatters, I have a lead foot. I talk a lot. Like, I'm keyed down all the time.
And then you got the compressor all the way up too, and just keeping the needle up there.
I can't believe I haven't been turned in for like broadcasting or something, because I'm just out there like, hey, who's out there? So someone come in and say hello to me. And I'm a smoking 811 type. Okay.
Smoking.
Sure. Smoking. We let the smoke out. One is broken. I'd show it to you, but we put it away in a box. But I'm blowing tubes left and right. You guys help me out. All right. Where does that bring us? We've got Newsline next, right?
Yeah. Let's go to Dawn.
Don.
We do, as a matter of fact, and we've got a nice solar update from Dr. T. So let's just roll that beautiful Newsline footage. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2267, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, April 14th, 2021. We begin this week with a big de-expedition update, and that can only mean Bouvet Island. But 2 de-expeditions?
The date is set, December 15th of this year, for the Rebel DX group to depart Cape Town, South Africa for Bouvet Island and the 3Y0I activation. The team said it's ready as ever following the cancellation of their 2019 DXpedition when they were within sight of the remote island and had to turn back during a cyclone for safety reasons. The team of 8, led by Polish DXpeditioner Dom 3Z9DX, expects to be on Bouvet for as many as 30 days and will operate 8 stations on 160 through 6 meters, using CW, SSB, FT4/FT8, RITI, and operations through the Qatar Oscar 100 satellite. The team has continued to appeal for donations to meet its remaining need for $32,000. Meanwhile, the Intrepid DX group has announced that they'll be activating the island as well, using the call sign 3Y0J. Their 20-day stay on the island is set for January 2023. The team's immediate goal is to continue fundraising to meet their budget of $764,000 before their planned trip aboard the MV Braveheart. The Rebel DX group, in response to the other team's announcements, said in a press release, quote, "We would like to wish the recently announced 3Y0J Bouvet DXpedition all the best for a successful activity in 2023. There's enough space for even 3 more activities from 3Y0 land. We know how much detailed planning goes into a project like this and cross fingers for them." End quote. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm John Williams, VK4JJW.
Hexbeam users and DXers alike are marking the loss of a popular and prominent figure. Waldy, SP7IDX, has become a silent key.
An amateur radio operator considered one of the world's foremost makers of hex-beam antennas has become a silent key. The death of Waldy was reported on the dxworld.net website. Reportedly recovering from COVID-19, he suffered a fatal heart attack on the 4th of April. His QTH in southeast Poland was also the company headquarters for his successful hex-beam antenna, used widely by DXpeditioners around the world. He was a well-known DXpeditioner, most particularly in the islands on the Air Awards scheme. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
The Youth Working Group of IARU Region 1 has announced a new contest.
Young amateurs in IARU Region 1 are hoping for a big turnout in May for the debut of the YOTA contest, an initiative designed to get more young amateurs on the air around the world. The 12-hour competition will be held 3 times a year, with the first one happening on the 22nd of May. There are 8 categories, including ones for hams 25 and younger, and the contest exchange will be the operators' ages. Activity will be on 80, 40, 20, 15 and 10 metre bands in CW and SSB modes. The later contests will be in July and December. The Youth Working Group has arranged the event with the cooperation of the Hungarian Amateur Radio Society. Details are available on the website shown in this week's Newsline script at arnewsline.org. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ed Durant, DD5LP.
Another reminder, the nominating period for the 2021 Newsline Bill Pasternak WA6ITF Young Ham of the Year Award is now open. You'll find the nominating form and all information on our website, arnewsline.org. The presentation will take place at the Huntsville Hamfest in August. You'll find more on the Huntsville Hamfest at hamfest.org, and we look forward to seeing you there. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at arnewsline.org. With John Williams, VK4JJW, Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, Ed Durant, DD5LP, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW 73. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now here's the solar update from Dr. Tamitha Skov, WX6SWW.
We have a stealthy solar storm that's Earth-directed, a bright region emerges and begins to flare, and the sun's far side begins to get busy. Those stories and more in the news this week. This space weather forecast is sponsored in part by Millersville University. Come get certified in broadcast space weather. Visit millersville.edu/SWEN. Space weather this week is picking up a bit. There's so much to see. As we turn and look at our front-sided disk, you can see back on the 10th, down in the south and in the north, we had a little bit of a puff. It's very, very difficult to see. If you blink, you miss it. But this was part of a stealthy solar storm that lifted off and is headed partially toward Earth. Now, most of it is going west, but there is this wispy bit that is definitely headed toward Earth. As we take a look at our coronagraphs, you can actually see this really weak halo. This is an Earth-based coronagraph from LASCO, and that halo is definitely indicating that something is Earth-directed. Whether or not we're actually going to get any serious impact from that is left to be seen. Most likely not. It's just a precursor of what is to come. Now, if we return to the disk, you can also see back around the 11th, well, actually back around the 9th, we actually had this bright region. This is region 2814 that was rotating into view and began to emerge and grow a little bit. By the 11th, it really started growing, and we started getting a little bit of flare activity. In fact, if we switch to our magnetic configuration for this region, you can see a ton of growth. This is probably one of the most complex spot regions we've had of the cycle 25. You can see the colors kind of mixing a little bit, and that's what's causing a little bit of flare activity right now and maybe a little noise on the bands. So we're getting excited because it's actually showing some level of activity we haven't seen in solar cycle 25 yet, and we shall see if this region becomes an M-flare player. Likely not. It's going to stay pretty much at small flares, but hey, we got to start somewhere, right? Now, meanwhile, as we continue looking at the disk, we can also see just behind it, we have that big coronal hole. This coronal hole is going to be rotating into the Earth strike zone here in probably about 10 days or so. And this coronal hole has sent us some fast wind before that's brought us up to storm levels. So hey, if we don't get much from that stealthy solar storm that should be hitting Earth here in the next day or two, then easily in the next week or so, we'll be getting that fast wind from that coronal hole. And that should definitely give us a good chance for aurora, easily at high latitudes and possibly down into mid latitudes. Switching to our M-flare threat meter, as you can see from the last week, the X-ray flux has continued to be extremely low on Earth's day side. This means by proxy, the solar flux has been very low. In fact, we've been sitting at the low to mid 70s over the past week, which is at the low end of marginal radio propagation on Earth's day side for you emergency responders and amateur radio operators. But as you can see, right about the 11th, you start noticing that X-ray flux rise a little bit. In fact, you can even see a few small flares, the pop, 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 there that are B-class flares, almost C-class flares. This is from region 2814 as it really began its explosive growth. But this is really good news because not only are we seeing that activity rise, but also the solar flux is now in the high 70s. We're almost at the 80s. So this is great news for amateur radio operators and emergency responders. We're getting closer and closer to the good range for radio propagation. Switching to our solar storm conditions and aurora possibilities over the coming week, we are anticipating that minor hit from that very weak, stealthy solar storm here over the next couple days, but because we're not really expecting much in the way of fast solar wind, the impact is likely going to be very underwhelming. So at high latitudes, NOAA is expecting unsettled conditions, but we do have up to about a 20% chance of a major storm over the next couple days, but again, don't expect all that much, and then things should die down pretty much after that. Now, mid-latitudes, we're also expecting unsettled to, well, normal conditions actually, but we do have about a 15% chance of active conditions. Again, that may be a little bit overblown. There may not be all that much going on, and things will definitely settle down as we get further in through the week. And then, of course, next week is when we really should be expecting to see a bit more in terms of fast solar wind from that much larger coronal hole that could be giving us some nice aurora even down to mid-latitudes. So the space weather this week is definitely picking up. Let's hope solar cycle 25 is really beginning to get underway. Now, first we have that stealthy solar storm that's on its way to Earth. Again, we're not expecting it to be a big impact, but aurora photographers, if you're at high latitudes, you might get a little extra boost in that aurora viewing. So, you got to stay on your toes a little bit. But people at mid-latitudes, probably not much to worry about. You're just going to have to wait until that bigger coronal hole rotates into the Earth strike zone, which will be probably around the turn of the week. And then we could get aurora down to mid-latitude. So just wait for it. Now, meanwhile, we also have multiple bright regions on the Earth-facing disk, including the sunspot region 2814. This has become a sunspot cluster, and believe it or not, we're actually getting a little bit of flare activity because it's a bit magnetically complicated. Now, on top of that, we also have some regions on the sun's far side that are kind of growing pretty quickly too. We shall see if they're going to be sunspot regions, and if so, we might actually have some solar storm producers here. We've already seen a couple solar storms launch on the sun's far side. So we're going to be very anxious to see all of this stuff rotate into Earth view, and space weather next week might get even more exciting. Now, as far as you GPS users are concerned, well, we've actually got pretty quiet space weather at Earth right now, so your GPS reception should look pretty good both on the day side and on Earth's night side. I'm Tamitha Skov, the Space Weather Woman. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Dr. T. She's always a great resource, and she's the kind of person that can distill all this really technical information and bring it down to a point where anyone can understand it. So you really need to follow her on Twitter at Tamitha Skov. Check her out at spaceweatherwoman.com. Also, just do a YouTube search for Tamitha Skov, and you'll find a whole bunch of her videos as well there. So we certainly thank and appreciate Dr. T for everything that she does for the amateur radio community, and congratulations on her Dayton Amateur Radio Association award this year too. So if you haven't heard about that, you can go check that out on her website and on her YouTube channel. Okay, what are we doing now? Are we ready for rolling? Do we have that beautiful bean footage ready to go? What are we doing?
We are ready.
Excellent. Well, then there's Gordon.
All right. Well, thanks, John, and thanks, Tamitha. Well, lights, we got them. Action, that's ham radio action. And camera. Yeah, we go back to the 70s with the old robot gear and those big bulky cameras. Then the 80s came along, and well, I'm happy to say slow scan is still popular on the high frequency band. But in the 80s, a young man named Tom O'Hara said, let's get started with some analog live black and white television. And we all had our down converters, and we had our little 10-watt transmitters, and it grew and grew. And then came COVID, when things are really getting started with real live action, including high definition. Mike Collis here in the Southern California area kept all the amateur television repeaters rolling. But then something magic happened. First of all, the magic are all the hams that tune into the RF side of live amateur television. But better than that, a young man named Roland Hoffman that you see off to my left, or it could be my right, that you see also on the back screen over my shoulder. Roland, KC6JPG, says, let's not just restrict amateur television to just those that have some of the either direct high definition equipment, as well as those that have the analog gear. Let's go ahead and open it up to everyone. So Roland, lights, camera, and you've got the action as net control of the Amateur Television Network. Roland?
Okay, you got to unmute, Roland. You're still muted. Roland, you're muted.
You see, this is part of live television. So you have to go like this. No, not yet. Not yet.
This
Anyway,
is the bloopers roll.
There it is. No audio. There's the no audio. We needed that. So, oh, they've all got it. Oh, boy.
I told you he had a huge following both on RF as well as on many of the digital modes on the internet. So let's see if Roland gets things going here. I'll ad lib.
Your Skype is muted, Roland.
He's still going.
Until I hear him. And
I think he's figured it out now. Looks like it. He's
maybe.
No.
Nope.
He's a power
Your Skype
train.
is muted.
All right, as Roland's getting his system squared away,
text him.
Text him.
He has amateur television viewers two-way all over the world, thanks to the internet. And as soon as we get Roland, he's getting now the message. We're talking about being able to see ham radio operators on live amateur television going into the internet and then broadcast live throughout many of the repeaters throughout the world on RF. And as you can see here, very shortly, you'll see a collection of all those live operators ready to start rolling. So as we get, as we're filling time here for Roland to come back on the air, there's a station in New York.
Yeah. Now, we should point out that they are using FastScan television right now. So that I think that's the important thing, is that their video feed is coming through as FastScan television. And I appreciate that they're working a net, because you can watch this on their YouTube channel. But as of right now, they're having a little bit of audio problems. I don't know, can Roland hear us? That might be the problem. Maybe we should try and contact him on 2 meter simplex. Is that possible, Gordo? Can we hit him from here? We might want to try that.
I think I already hear talk on 2 meters, so I know that they're working on him to. No, he's still not there.
He doesn't get it that his Skype is muted. Skype is muted.
Hang on.
And he seems so animated.
He is.
Oh, he's
there.
There we go.
There we go.
All right,
so
Roland.
Roland, we were trying our hardest to do play-by-play of what you were doing.
And you and Don, you were doing fantastic.
So we just need to catch everybody up what you've been working on.
Rewind.
Go for it.
No, we're gonna continue on again. And let me do this. Let me grab our IP system on our amateur television network. We use the Whereby system here. And there you go. There, wave everybody. We're going to try this again. And this time, let's go ahead and we're going to go to Nate again. Actually, we're going to go to Dennis over in Las Vegas, KA7HQP. So Dennis, take it away, my friend.
Oh, no. Very good. Good evening, everyone, or afternoon, or whatever it may be. From Las Vegas, Nevada. Traffic is getting crazy. It's getting to be a fun city again. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings when traffic gets heavy, though. But yeah, it's interesting, especially on Sunday nights when everybody's leaving Vegas and the freeways are booked going back out of town. 76 degrees in Las Vegas today. Very slightly breezy. Wonderful day outside. I mean, nothing to complain about. And that's about all I have from Vegas. Just thought I'd say hello and good evening, good day to all. Take care.
Well, fantastic, Dennis. Thank you very much for checking in with us tonight. Very good. I'm so glad the audio's working now. Right, Gordo? Because my engineer here, he kind of lays around the job and he's kind of quit on me. But well, I'm going to bring a very popular person on the Amateur Television Network now, and that's, of course, Gary, W6KVC. And Gary, let's say hi to everybody, my friend.
Well, good evening, everybody. And I also want to say hi to a friend of mine. He'll get a kick out of this. Hi, Ray, if you're watching. So, anyway, I'm W6KVC, and I'm high in the mountains up here, 6,200 feet above San Bernardino. So, there you are.
Fantastic, Gary. Great to see you. And great picture with you and Ray on the RV there. That is really great. We're going to go to Arizona. We're going to go to Rod, WB9KMO. And Rod, it's great to see you, my friend. And say hello to everybody on Ham Nation.
Hello, Ham Nation from Mesa, Arizona. This is Rod, WB9KMO. And this is my 50th year as a ham, so I'm celebrating that. Back in 1975, I was in Wisconsin and decided to get on amateur television on a dare. I didn't want to just talk and show myself on the air to myself. So I dared another guy to get involved, and we got on the air. And then a few years later, I moved to Santa Barbara. In 1980, I put an ATV repeater on the air in Santa Barbara, and that is still operating 40 years later. So that's really nifty. So it's part of the Amateur Television Network. And a few years ago, I retired and moved to Mesa, Arizona, where I had to put another ATV repeater on the air, and I linked it up to 2 more here. And now we're going digital, and it is fantastic. We've come a long way. Back to you, Roland, WB9KMO, Thunder Mountain in Mesa, Arizona.
And there you have it, Rod over in Thunder Mountain in Mesa, Arizona. That is so great. Thank you, Rod, for checking in with us. Fantastic. All right. Let's go to over in Canada, my friends. We're going to go to Mike, VA3TEC over in Canada. So, Mike, take it away, my friend. VA3TEC, go for it, my friend.
Canada. So, Mike, take it away, my friend.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me here.
VA3TEC, go for it, my friend.
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
Oh, yeah, you're
thank
good.
everybody
You're good.
from Canada. And
hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me here.
You got to mute your side there, bud.
Go for it, my friend.
I guess I got some a little lag here.
Everybody from Canada. And
Okay, Mike, you might want to mute your audio on the receive side and listen on the whereby side because, yeah, we definitely got what we call the satellite delay.
Yeah, I think he just had the stream running on YouTube, so he was hearing the output of YouTube into his input.
Okay.
It happens.
Okay. This is the reason why talent say turn your TVs down, right? That's right. Mike, thank you very much for checking in with us. All right. We're going to go right back to California now. We're going to go to Tom, WB6HYH in Rancho Cucamonga. That's where I'm at. I call him my brother in the same city from another mother. So, Tom, take it away, my friend.
Yeah. Hi, Roland. I'm pushing down on the foot pedal here. I think I'm doing RF, but I guess we're just doing the internet tonight. But yeah, I'm Tom from WB6HYH in Rancho Cucamonga. Yeah, we're at 56 degrees here in the same city where Roland's at. And we've been doing ATV for about 12 years now, I guess, and really been having a ball with it. And we got the whole setup around here, and we get to check in every Tuesday night. We have our net, and it's a lot of fun. So that's about it from Rancho Cucamonga, WB6HYH. Back to you, Roland.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Tom. Very, very good. I appreciate you, my friend. And this is kind of what we do on the Amateur Television Network. It is people on RF, people on our IP systems, and we're checking people from all around the world. So it's just been absolutely fantastic. We really appreciate you, Gordo, and of course, we appreciate the entire Ham Nation team. And Amanda, I promise you, you're going to get a personal tour of our new truck that we are restoring, and we're about 78% complete right now. And now we're putting in all the digital equipment into the truck, as well as the new 2 gig RF equipment. So very, very exciting stuff's coming up. So when this whole thing that we call the pandemic blows over and we can actually have human contact again, we are definitely looking forward to that, and bringing our wonderful truck with the 30-foot mast and has the dish and it says ATN on it. And wow, we're on the air to everywhere, no matter where we are in the world. Let's get a few more check-ins. We're going to go to Keith, N6GKB, over in Yucca Valley, California. Keith, say hi to everybody.
Hello, Keith in Yucca Valley. We're in the high desert, west end of the Mojave Desert, north of Palm Springs. And yeah, in our area of the woods, it's 55 degrees. And yeah, we enjoy the the ATN system here. My brother's the WB6HYH down there by Roland. I'm out here in the high desert, about an hour and a half away from him. And got me into this amateur television, having a good time at it, and enjoy the crowds of guys that we meet all the time. So it's great. And TKB.
Fantastic, Keith. Thank you very much for checking in. Also in Yucca Valley, my friends, we have Ryan, and that's KK6WCX. So Ryan, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, hi, Ryan here, KK6WCX in Yucca Valley. Friend of Keith and Aaron, also on the ATN network. I guess Aaron's not on right now, but he talked me into getting on this just yesterday. So this is my second day on the ATN network here. So thank you for the invitation, and I'll say 73 KK6WCX. Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome, Ryan. Thank you for coming on and being a part of this wonderful, wonderful show. And I'll tell you, it's just been one fantastic ride here with the Amateur Television Network. And we are growing. We are making plans for this summer to transition from the analog signals that we have on the repeater systems to DVB-T digital. And the pictures are going to look absolutely great. Just what you're seeing here tonight, this is our IP system, full HD quality, and we're going to do the same thing on our outputs of our repeater system. So very, very good, Ryan. Thank you very, very much. All right, we're going to go to Massachusetts this time, and we're going to go to KC1LPZ. Steven, say hi to everybody.
Good evening, Ham Nation. Good evening, you folks on the net. Good evening to my friends in the Boston area. The Minuteman Repeater Association, the Framingham Amateur Radio Association, and the Algonquin Radio Club. So this is Steve, KC1LPZ in the greater Boston area, and I'm going to bring it over back to the net. KC1LPZ, over and out.
Very good, Stephen. Thank you very much for checking in with us. Very, very good. Looking great tonight. And I'm going to try it again because poor guy, he was muted. I'm going to bring in Nate once again over in New York. And of course, he was part of the special event station for Last Man Standing. And let me tell you, that was an exciting event. And Amanda can definitely relate to that. It was just so much fun. So Nate, come on in, my friend, and say hi to everyone on Ham Nation.
Hey guys, Nate, November 2, Foxtrot India X-Ray here in New York. Special event guy, love working them. Had a great time with the KA6 LMS Stroke 2. We had a blast. It's currently 44 degrees here in Western New York, located between Buffalo and Rochester. Got hooked up with the ATN guys actually during the special event with Last Man Standing, and it's been a wonderful experience. So big kudos to Roland and all the crew involved with the ATN. Thanks for having me again. Nate, Rebel Radio, November 2, Foxtrot, and the X-Ray. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you very much for all that you have done. He has made a lot of contacts during the special event. And I believe we're over 88,000 contacts that was made for the Last Man Standing special event station. And of course, us, the Amateur Television Network, we streamed over 160 hours where stations are coming in live on the Amateur Television Network through YouTube, through our Facebook channel, and just watching us. And our hams had the opportunity to stream into our Whereby Ingest system so they can be displayed during their operation. And John Amadeo, AA6JA, AA6JA, I had to think there for a moment. He was just very, very pleased of what was happening. It was just beyond his dreams, as well as our buddy Lou Maggio. And those two just did a fantastic job on commemorating the show. It was just a great event. Let's see. Do we have time for one more? Let me see if we do. We have Don Hill, my friends, over in Mission Viejo, California, and that's KE6BXT. And of course, he was our first ATVer / he was the president of the ATN on the first time that he appeared on Ham Nation. So Don, take it away.
Hi, it's Don, KE6BXT from Mission Viejo. Been on Ham Nation before. Back on the first show we did on amateur television, and I was the president of the Amateur Television Network for 5 years. Also participated in some of the special events at the station. Worked the radio on set twice, which was a real thrill. And then during the last special event, also made several contacts to the stations there for the special event station. So thanks, Roland, for having me in, and back to Roland.
Fantastic, Don. Thank you very, very much for checking in with us, my friend. Okay, so one last time for everyone on my RF side. There we go. Give it a big wave. Wave, everybody. You got it. Yay. And Gary is showing off our ATN truck. There you go, Amanda. You just wait, because you're going to get a personal tour of that truck, my girl, because yes, it is just absolutely incredible. We took it was donated to us, to the ATN, and between Mike KA6SBT, Gary W6KVC, myself, Tom, and of course everyone involved with the Amateur Television Network, as well as the San Bernardino Microwave Society, they all got together, and basically they donated over $25,000 worth of funds to fix up and reboot the truck. So it's just been one fantastic ride. So Gordon, thank you very, very much for this opportunity. We appreciate you and everyone on the Ham Nation team. We're going to turn it back to you. Thank you very, very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Roland. Roland, how about telling our viewers the best spot to learn more about Amateur Television Network?
The best spot to learn more about Amateur Television Network is right on our website, and that's www.atn-don't forget the dash, TV.com. You got it, atn-tv.com. And we got some fantastic information about how to get involved, the equipment that you can use. We got site maps, basically, and coverage maps that's available with all the different repeater systems. We just got a new chapter from Tasmania in Australia area. It's just become a new Amateur Television Network chapter. So we're very, very excited about that. And so we are growing, and of course, when you're a chapter, you get linked up into our system, and you get to of course participate with our nets. So that's the best place to go. And if you want to watch us, we're on YouTube, have our own channel, Amateur Television Network. Just search it on YouTube, and we're live 24/7 because you never know what's going to come up next. Right, engineer? Uh-huh. Yeah, you better hide because a bad bunny muted me during the first 2 minutes of the show.
Thank you so much, Roland. A great presentation. Amanda, what do you think? Over to you, Amanda.
I thought this was amazing to have all of these check-ins. Canada, across the United States, this was amazing. And I know our viewers love this, and they're all like, I've got to get into ATV. I've got to do it. So do it. One quick question, Roland. Tell us the minimal amount of equipment you need to do this, or where they can find it to get on.
Well, the minimal amount of equipment is basically you're setting up a receive station. And so, of course, if you want to receive the amateur television network on the RF side, then you just simply get a beam antenna with some low loss coax, and just like Gordo's pointing at, either a down converter for the analog systems or for digital, you get a digital receiver. And most of the repeaters today are running either DVB-T, which is the European standard for broadcast. And we definitely prefer that because of the wonderful signal it produces, and of course, combats the multipath problems. And of course, DVB-S is also popular. And of course, the equipment is very inexpensive. And so, just getting involved is getting a receive station, and then of course, when you really get hooked, and of course, we see you on the receive, you're watching us on ATV, and of course, we have a 2-meter simplex, as well as a couple of repeaters here that you can talk with us during that time, or during when we're on ATV. We are going to entice you to complete your ATV arsenal by getting a transmit station. So you're actually setting up 2 separate stations. So beam antenna, low loss coax, going into an amplifier and to an exciter for the DVB-T or the DVB-S. And then we still have the analog equipment available because the legacy equipment is still abundant, and we still encourage people to hook up amateur television via the what we call the standard definition television, and we still have those inputs available today, so you can get on the air at relatively low cost. You can get the old Tom O'Hara's transmitters for maybe $50 at a flea market. So they're they tend to be available. So we definitely encourage it. And of course, the whereby system is the perfect place where people that are like, well, I'm interested in amateur television and I'm curious, but I just don't want to invest in any equipment. And that's where the whereby system comes in, and you can check in with the group, just like Gary over there, without just basically using your computer and your web camera and your microphone. And there you go. So that's how you can get involved in it.
That's awesome. At least we know that it's affordable. So that's the biggest thing. Any of our hosts have any other questions for Roland and his ATV and his awesome check-in list tonight?
Yes, it is. Where I originate, I have a studio here, and I have I have my master control receiving all of the signals, RF signals from around the world. So everywhere from Germany and England, and of course through the United States, and of course we do a special event that's hosted by the amateurs down in Australia, and we have check-ins from around the world, and it usually covers about 24 hours. So it's very, very exciting. So when I do the nets, I'm completely RF doing the nets, and then I ingest our whereby system for our IP system. We are also on the Arden Mesh network. So if you're on Mesh, you can look me up, KC6JPG, and I am streaming the amateur television network on the RTSP side. And so yes, you can pull the signal using your favorite video player, and you can watch the amateur television network that way. And in the future, we're going to include Team Talk on the Arden Mesh, so people can check in through that particular atmosphere, as we call it, and really be on the air to everywhere.
Okay, right on. I got my audio squared. Sorry about that. I mute sometimes when other people are talking. Apologize. So yeah, I appreciate the answer there. So it sounds like there's multiple ways to get involved, and obviously starting with the receiving station is probably the way to go. And Gordo, what was the name, that one you held up for receiver? Was that the down converter off of
Yes, that is from PC Electronics, but Thomas pretty much parted out all of the gear, and you'll find these guys at swap meets as soon as we get back to swap meet sessions. And as indicated, they're $50 to $60 for the down converter, and we got down converters for 1.2, 3 gigs, 5 gigs. So we're all over the microwave spectrum as well.
So really, you just need a down converter like that, an appropriate antenna, and then a standard, 2-meter receiver?
We run the audio right on the video.
Jeff?
Ah, okay.
Can you turn that down, please? Thank you.
All right, here's Amanda with Delta and Dog.
I am so sorry, but we had our public safety radio going like really, really loud. I'm like, gotta turn this down.
I actually didn't hear it, so I think you're okay.
I'm the only one that has been unmuted this whole night.
Funny.
And again, it's
hilarious.
It's what was it again? The website. I'll make. By the way, their YouTube channel is linked in the description, so you can find it that way. But what was the website one more time?
Okay, Roland, the website one more time.
Yes, the bunny gets everywhere, Amanda. Like I said, he was the culprit for me tonight, because when I got home from work, my video didn't come through. So I got the video fixed, but the audio didn't come through, and so this guy's been a pest. So now he's over to you. Now he's on. He just came back from your side. Left your audio on unmuted. He's a bad bunny. Okay, you stay there. All right. Website www.atn-tv.com. You got it.
Okay, very good. Well, we are we're at an hour and 30 minutes, so I think we're pretty much close to our limit. I gotta see what happened. I heard Leia start the car and the car leave, so I don't know if she took the kids or left the kids. Either way, I've got to figure out what that's all about before we try and have an after show. So if you're all expecting an after show over on the Discord, it might happen. But I got to figure out what's going on my end. So if you do join us over there, the link is in the description to join our Discord server, which is a 24/7 ham radio server. We answer questions, talk about what we're up to, post pictures of our activations, and there's a voice chat component. And we like to use that after our shows, Ham Nation and my show, every Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Why don't we go around here? Oh, yeah, go ahead, Amanda. Lead it off.
I did say that I would join in tonight.
Okay.
A wee little bit.
Okay.
So I do have an opportunity to do that. And other than that, I will just talk about the nets real quick. So we have 14 Charlie for D-Star. And we're not going to have a 40-meter net tonight. Kevin's exhausted. So join us on 14-268 on 20 meters. Hopefully it's open. I know it's kind of been rough band conditions lately, but hopefully you can join on there. So that's what I had. Thank you. One other thing I wanted to say, and you don't have to come back to me, Josh. You do the round the horn with everyone else. 2 weeks from now, we're having the all YL episode. So I've got Valerie and I have some amazing, amazing guests lined up for you. So I hope that you join in. Hopefully Leia too. Hopefully Leia.
We have to figure out what we're going to do with the kids.
I know.
Maybe we can find somebody just to take
How old are the kids?
5 and 7, so they're prime age to get into some big trouble.
They're a little old for rum in the bottle, but that was
Benadryl and movie time is not bad. I'm kidding. I would never do that. I need somebody knocking on the door right now.
Tylenol PM and scotch works for me.
Well, what do we got going around the horn real quick? Anybody got going anything on they want to talk about before we wrap things up?
Nothing
Okay,
here,
I
just
actually
trying to stay dry.
I did have one other question, and I'm sorry. Stay dry.
Go for it.
That doesn't happen in this house. John, is K0JDD still here?
I think so. John, can you unmute for a second?
Yes, Miss Amanda.
Okay, there you are. So we didn't discuss this earlier, but somebody had asked if NetLogger was on all platforms or just Windows. Just real quickly answer that question, please.
Windows, yes. Windows 7 and up. Mac OS from about 10.8. And any of the x86 based Linux distributions, the major ones. No Raspberry Pi yet because that's an AMD chip, but that's being considered. Let's put it that way. The Pi is becoming very popular in the ham space. And at this point, no iPad, iPhone. There's just not enough horsepower there.
All right. Answers the question. Thank you so much, John. All right. You can wrap it up now.
Okay. Gordo, Randy, Don, anything you want to take us off?
Goodbye.
Goodbye is
Goodbye.
good. That's a good one.
That's it.
Goodbye. Looking to, for Quartz Fest. Really want to do that next year. So. Jamie
Quartz Fest is going to take place next year.
And Huntsville will be a topic we'll talk about here soon. We've got a couple more episodes before that happens. But I believe a decent amount of us might be going to Huntsville this year. So I'm excited about that.
Excellent.
So we'll talk about that in the future, though. So everybody, thanks so much for watching Ham Nation with us this week. We'll be back again in 2 weeks, and we'll see you at the same time, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, a hearty 73 to everybody. See you later.
73. Thanks for watching.
Good night, everybody.
All right, that's a wrap.